Hi guys! So we're going to continue now, and we just left off where Macbeth saw the ghost of Banquo standing in his hall while him and Lady Macbeth have all these guests there that are eating dinner. I think it's dinner. And he just started shouting at the ghost, which is not actually there, right? He's imagining it. And so his dinner guests started kind of, being weird, and they were saying like, what are you looking at? Like, you must not be well, right? And Lady Macbeth told them just not to worry about it, and that he does this all the time and it's normal, and just ignore it. So the queen pulled Macbeth aside. "Why do you make such faces?" she whispered. "As I stand here, I saw Banquo murdered," Macbeth said. "This is but the painting of your fear," his wife hissed. "You look but on a stool." Lady Macbeth turned her husband back toward his place at the banquet table. This is but the painting of your fear. How interesting. I'm not entirely sure what she means, to be honest. But I think she's just telling him to just pretend like everything's fine. Because when he's doing this and acting this way, he's kind of drawing attention to the fact that something's not right. And there was just a murder in his castle, so this is just not good for them to be acting like this. Macbeth took a few hesitant steps toward his seat. His wife signaled, and a servant brought him a fresh goblet. He raised it. "I drink to the general, joy of the whole table, and to our dear friend Banquo, whom we miss. Would that he were here." No sooner had he spoken than Banquo's bloody ghost reappeared. Macbeth flung his goblet through the apparition. So the ghost appeared in front of him, and he just threw his goblet into the ghost, which, the ghost isn't there. "Quit my sight," he shouted. "Let the earth hide thee." The ghost vanished. Macbeth sank to his knees. So the ghost reappeared again. So he was just drinking to Banquo's memory, I guess, and saying that he wished the Banquo was eating there with them all. And then the ghost appeared, and Macbeth freaked out, of course, again, and threw his goblet through the ghost and said, "Go away!" And he sank to his knees, so he fell to the ground. Lady Macbeth moved between her husband and the nobles. "I pray you, speak not," she told the baffled men. "He grows worse and worse. Please go at once." The nobles left the banquet hall. So she told them that he's just not doing very well, and she asked them to leave. Word of Macbeth's strange behavior quickly spread across Scotland. It fueled the passions of those who suspected that Macbeth was Duncan's murderer. So people are actually starting to suspect that Macbeth did kill Duncan. Macbeth, feeling the threat to his throne, rode back to the barren heath where he and Banquo had first met the witches, so the three witches. So he's going back to where him and Banquo first saw them. He found the three hags stirring a large pot and chanting, "Double, double, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble, eye of newt and toe of frog, wool of bat and tongue of dog, cool it with a baboon's blood, then the charm is firm and good." As the king approached, one witch turned to the others with a leering grin. "By the pricking of my thumb, something wicked this way comes," the witch said. So she's saying that Macbeth is wicked. Then, before Macbeth could state his business, the witches began a frenzied dance around their cauldron. Wisps of foul green-gray mist rose from the simmering liquid. The mist slowly formed a ghostly helmet. The apparition grew and hung over Macbeth. "Beware Macduff," the faceless helmet warned. "Beware the Thane of Fife." Then it was sucked back into the cauldron. So, who's Macduff again? This is Macduff. I'm hiding him. Macduff, Thane of Fife. So they're saying, "Beware Macduff." Oh dear. A second apparition soon appeared, this one in the form of a blood-covered infant. "Laugh to scorn the power of man," the bloody baby moaned, "for none of woman born shall harm Macbeth." So, a little ghost, and they call it an apparition. That just means something that is appeared in front of them, but it's not real, right? It's kind of just imagined. But I think the witches are making these appear with magic. So a bloody baby is saying, no woman born shall harm Macbeth. So they're saying no one who was born from a woman will hurt Macbeth. But, as you all know, it's impossible to have a child that is not born from a woman, because women give birth to babies. That's how it works. So, we'll have to find out what that means. The third apparition was a child. The child wore a crown and held a small tree in his hand. Macbeth shall never vanquished be until great Birnam wood to high Dunsinane hill shall come, the child said. Macbeth shall never vanquished be. So they're saying Macbeth shall never be vanquished until great Birnam wood to high Dunsinane hill shall come. So until this forest comes to a hill, basically, is what that's saying. Macbeth rode home, mulling over what the witches had revealed. Their 3 apparitions, though bizarre, had brought him some peace. Had the witches not as good as proclaimed him invincible? For what man is not born of woman? And how could a forest move to Dunsinane Hill on which his castle stood? As for the Scottish Thane Macduff, he had once been his friend. Macbeth would deal with him as he had with Banquo. So Macbeth is saying, I don't care about Macduff, I'll just kill him. Before Macbeth could act, however, messengers brought him news that Macduff had fled to England to join Duncan's son, Malcolm. The Thane and Prince would surely raise a force and march on Macbeth's castle. Is Malcolm important? Let's see. Yes, okay, I'm going to draw Malcolm. So Malcolm is... Oh, why did I lose the page now? Malcolm is King Duncan's, this guy who died, his oldest son, okay? Malcolm. Okay. So we'll draw him... I almost kicked over my water. Okay, let's draw him... Let's draw him up by Lady Macbeth, I guess. So we are going to draw Malcolm. Okay. And he's King Duncan's son, so we can give him red hair too. Oh my. He looks very skinny. Oh well, alright. So this will be Malcolm. And he is kind of sad because his dad died. And we'll give him some wavy hair too. Okay, and we'll give him some, let's give him some stubble. Okay, this is not working out. Okay, whatever. I'll just give him, I don't want to give him a beard too. That's too similar. Okay, I will give him, I'll give him a little Banquo mustache goatee thing, maybe. Okay, that works, I guess. So this is Malcolm. Oh dear, how do you spell Malcolm? Malcolm. So M-A-L-C-O-M. So Malcolm. And he is eldest son of him. So Oh my goodness, my writing is so messy. Okay, he is the eldest son of King Duncan. So I'm just going to put eldest son. Okay, and then I'm going to draw an arrow. Okay. All right, and I think that is the end of our drawings here, guys. Yay. Okay. Macbeth realized he would have to wait and kill Macduff in battle. Oh, am I covering Malcolm now? Okay, I'll sit here. So he realized he would have to kill Macduff in battle, but in the meantime, he could make Macduff wish himself dead. Macbeth dispatched murderers to Macduff's castle with the order to kill his entire household, wife, children, and servants all. Oh my gosh, that is so sad. I'll crown my thoughts with axe, Macbeth vowed, but as his resolve grew steely, his once strong wife unraveled. Oh gosh, so now that Macbeth feels more confident and like he has a solid plan, Lady Macbeth is not doing so well. By day, Lady Macbeth struggled to appear royal and dignified, but once asleep, guilt drove her from her comfortable bed. The queen walked in her sleep. She wrung her hands as if washing away Duncan's blood. She examined her fingers closely, then scrubbed again. Out, out, damn spot, she cried. Will these hands never be clean? Here's the smell of blood still. Lady Macbeth walked and rubbed and muttered and wailed until daylight broke, then woke exhausted. So Lady Macbeth is so guilty for killing, and she didn't kill Duncan, right? Technically Macbeth killed Duncan. But it was both of their plan, right? And she went over there too and covered the guards in King Duncan's blood and left the knives there and everything like that. So she has a huge part in it too, and she's feeling very, very guilty and keeps imagining that she sees blood on her hands from that night. And she's not sleeping. When you don't sleep, you kind of go a little crazy. Macbeth himself grew weary as the days passed. The war news was bad. Malcolm and Macduff's force of 10,000 English soldiers was advancing. That's a lot of people. The Scottish thanes that had once sat at Macbeth's banquet table were now organizing to join the prince and thane. Malcolm intended to take back the crown he saw as rightfully his, but Macbeth was certain that he had something more powerful than the largest army. He had the witch's prophecies. Bring me no more reports. Let the false thanes fly by, Macbeth told the messenger who brought news of war. Till Birnam Wood removed to Dunsinane, I cannot taint with fear. So he's waiting for the forest to move closer to his kingdom. And then if that happens, then he'll start believing that the witch's prophecies are true, right? Prince Malcolm, meanwhile, had met the Scottish thanes of that same Birnam Wood. He was confident about his force, but he knew Macbeth had scouts in the area. Malcolm wanted the advance of his army to remain a deadly surprise. He looked at the trees in Birnam Wood. They were so thick you could not tell where one tree ended and the other began. So the forest is very, very thick with trees. So it means like there's a lot of trees and they're very close together. Let every soldier hew him down a branch and bear it before him, the prince ordered. Thereby shall we shadow our numbers. So he told everyone to cut down a branch from a tree and tie it to themselves, or hold it in front of themselves so that it hides them. This done, Malcolm's army resumed its march toward Macbeth's castle of Dunsinane. So now, as the thousands of people marching to Macbeth's castle to start that war, right? Now, since they're all covered with tree branches, it looks as if the forest is moving. The castle at Dunsinane was well fortified. Macbeth had raised the drawbridge and bolted the door against his enemies to force them to attempt a dangerous attack, but the fortress felt like a prison. So even though the fortress or the huge kingdom that Macbeth is in, is very strong, and they have a lot of things protecting them, he feels trapped inside as though it's his prison because he feels so guilty, right? As he paced up and down inside the castle, Macbeth heard screams. A servant rushed up to him. "The queen, my lord, is dead by her own hand," the shaken servant said. Ooh, no. Macbeth's expression did not change. He had seen too much death already. "She should have died hereafter," he said dully. "Life's but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing." Macbeth sank down onto his throne. Oh, so basically he's feeling very guilty. He doesn't want to live anymore, especially now that his wife killed herself. So Lady Macbeth was feeling so guilty, right, that she decided to just kill herself because being alive was so hard. So Lady Macbeth is dead. Okay. Let's see. We shall end here, you guys, since time's almost up. So, we're almost done. We're almost done. The next video will be our last. See you then. Bye. Thanks for watching.